Well, a very big welcome to everyone out there, all our attendees. Thank you for joining on the first event of the year of 2023. Yes, our first event is a virtual one, but as we know, 2023 will be filled with virtual and our physical events are all back. So we're looking forward to an extremely exciting year, a year that's really going to be filled with challenges, as we know. But as business owners and entrepreneurs, that's what we thrive on. The ability to overcome challenges, move forward, and make things happen. But tell us where you're from, all parts of the country. Through the webinar, please pop your questions into the chat box. I'll do what I can to answer the questions. And very importantly, like we always do, the replays will be available. They'll be sent to you, and the replays will be there for months and months. So if you want to keep looking at the webinar and extracting key information from it, please wait for that email or that replay to come through. Hi, Fritz from Maritzburg. Good to see you this morning. And yeah, guys, this morning it's going to be an interesting discussion. I'm very passionate about it. You know, overcoming e-commerce challenges is the topic of the morning. And before I introduce you to our special guest, I'm just going to give you some insight into her. I've had the privilege. FedEx Express is a big partner of the NSBC. They're extremely passionate about the SME environment, not only in South Africa, but from all over the world. And, it's because of brands like this, we are able to do what we do, to help SMEs to stay in business and to build bigger and more successful businesses. But first of all, I'd like to bring on our special guest, Natasha Parmanand. Natasha is the Managing Director of FedEx Express, Sub-Saharan Africa. Natasha, a very big welcome. Thank you for joining us. A really privileged to have you on board. And I know we're really excited to hear the insights in such an important topic. So Natasha, a big welcome to you.
Thanks, Mike. And like you said, it's the first webinar of the year. So Happy New Year to everybody that's joining us. And an absolute honor and privilege to be speaking to you.
Yeah, Natasha, and it's a big topic, and let me just give some insight to our attendees out there. Quick overview of this morning. We're going to talk about, of course, FedEx in Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa, and globally, the major logistic trends in the e-commerce industry. Of course, what can an SME do to overcome e-commerce business challenges? Tips for efficient shipping, avoiding pitfalls, and of course, how the changing consumer behavior dictates e-commerce strategy and how logistics plays a part. How does FedEx help small business expand and reach global markets? Ahead of 2023, what's your advice to FedEx customers and SMEs throughout the country? And then, of course, the FedEx Global Network. And then we will touch on, finally, a little bit about trading in Africa and beyond. And why I asked if I could bring that in, Natasha, is because mid-year this year, a very popular event of ours, a very big event, is really all about trading in Africa and beyond. Tips, advice, and mitigating risks. But we're not going to cover that today. I just wanted to give some insights into that. And it always attracts some of our biggest attendees, especially for our seasoned SMEs who built great businesses in South Africa, who really now want to look beyond our borders. But that's for another time. But yeah, Natasha, thanks for being part of this. It'll be really insightful. And but if you don't mind, before we start, if you don't mind, give me a bit of insight into Natasha and your role that you play at FedEx Express.
Well, like you said, Mike, by way of introduction, I'm the Managing Director for Sub-Saharan Africa. So I oversee basically FedEx Express in terms of strategy, growth, people, expansion, for Sub-Saharan Africa, and obviously, as we progress, maybe even beyond. But from a holistic perspective, we look at growth into Africa. We always say Africa is the last frontier. So it's all about how do we get there? How do we get our presence, our direct presence? So FedEx, does connect 220 countries and territories across the world. We have direct presence in many African countries. And we also have an indirect presence through our GSPs, which is very similar to a franchise or / agency model. But on a personal front, I'm a mom of 2 amazing kids. I think all mothers say their kids are amazing. A wife and a daughter. So very, very typical role. Lots of people say stress. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I always say to my team, you make me want to pull my hair out every day. But every morning I want to wake up and come to you. So as long as you have that passion, you love what you do, I think that's the recipe for success. And that's me in a nutshell, Mike.
Natasha, fantastic. And as you say, if you love what you do, you never have to work another day in your life. And I know that you are filled with passion, and well done on that. And I also want to say, before we kick off, a very big thank you to FedEx Express and to you, Natasha, and your team, your amazing team. You're a big part of the NSBC. We're doing exciting things together this year. You're a big part of the business show coming up in September. Traditionally the largest event in the world for anyone who's serious about building a successful business. And so without people like you and organizations like you, we can't do what we do, and that's to help businesses stay in business, build bigger businesses so that they can employ others. So truly grateful for that, Natasha, and I look forward to working with you and your team in the road ahead. Now, of course, you touched on that. I find it interesting you saying that Africa is the largest the last frontier, and you're 100% right. We've been talking about that over the last 2 years, and it also represents amazing opportunities. And I think that most people don't realize the excitement behind that. And of course, I know you are a big player in Africa and beyond. So we're going to spend a great deal of time this year really talking about the African market and as a last frontier and the opportunities available around that. But I know you touched on this briefly, Natasha, but just tell us about FedEx, more about FedEx in Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa, and then, of course, globally.
I'm very proud to say, FedEx is an absolute powerhouse. We connect businesses to each other, we connect customers, we connect people. I think that's the most fundamental thing about FedEx is we connect people. A lot of companies talk about, logistics companies moving shipments. FedEx doesn't move shipments. We always believe we move possibilities. Everything in that package is a possibility, whether it's medication, whether it's a gift, whether it's documents. So when you treat something as important, and you take away the object and you make it personal, you connect businesses, you connect people, you connect possibilities. And we, that powerhouse behind, we do that. It is our job as FedEx to satisfy customers. We safely pick up, transport, and deliver shipments most of the time, on time, intact, and damage-free. You're never going to get that 100%. In AMEA, which is Asia, Middle East, and Africa, we've made significant investments. And I think we all know that AMEA is where the majority of the e-commerce happens. It's the largest e-commerce platform. It's the largest trade partner. That's where the economy, or the hub of the economy, sits from an e-commerce perspective. We as FedEx have been facilitating trade in Southern Africa since 1994. And in 2019, in September, that was a very proud moment for me, because that was in my previous life at FedEx when I was the MD for legal. We introduced our first purple tail. So we call our own FedEx aeroplane the purple tail. And that flew into Africa. It connects from Memphis to Dubai, from Dubai into Johannesburg, and connects loops. In 2020, we announced our intention to expand into East Africa. And in 2022, we actually took our purple tail into Nairobi. So now we're connecting into East Africa as well. And the next frontier is going to be West Africa, touch wood. Across AMEA, we've also established direct presence in Cambodia, in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan. So we're really putting a lot of money in Asian, Middle East, and African markets. We've expanded our gateway facility in China. We've created a new South China operations center. So like I said, a lot of investment. We've identified that is where e-commerce is actually predominant. As a company, we connect 99% of the world's GDP, and we're taking bold steps, not only just in terms of Asia, Africa, Middle East. But the place of business that we've got, and the most important thing, is planet Earth. We talk about expansion into South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Eswatini. We connect all countries in Africa to the rest of the world. But our priority is priority Earth. That sits at the forefront of everything that we do. We have designated and we've put aside in excess of $2 billion in terms of initial investment for vehicle electrification, sustainable practices, carbon sequestration. And, we're looking to positively impact 50 million people around the world by our 50th birthday, which is in April 2023. So just around the corner. But a lot, if you talk about AMEA, like you said, a lot of good things is happening there. We've spent put a lot of investment into digitalization. And, we now have direct connection into Hong Kong, into Singapore, with us being part of now the AMEA region.
Great. Yeah, just something quick one there, Natasha. You might find this humorous. I think one of your team members is going to get a promotion after this webinar. Armand says, "Hey, that's my MD. That's my FedEx." Well, I can see you've got happy team members. There's no question about that. It's always nice to see that.
And I must tell you, Armand is actually our manager in our clearance department and doing an amazing job. So any of the participants, any of the viewers have any clearance issue, he's on the side in the chat box. You can reach out to him directly.
Yeah, that's always nice to see that kind of stuff. Natasha, thank you for that. Yeah, again, we offline early this morning, we spoke about challenges and difficulties, and but what are some of the major logistics trends in the e-commerce industry right now?
So it's interesting that you asked that question. On the top of the fingers, mobile commerce, digitalization and innovation, digital courier services, and last mile, solutions to provide last mile fulfillment. And if we talk about mobile, right, no one would think that we've evolved to the point that we want to walk and shop. People have, with COVID that has happened and forced people to move onto online shopping. E-commerce e-commerce was always not at the forefront of consumer top of mind. People like to go into the malls. People like to walk, touch, feel. With the pandemic, it's forced us to look at alternatives. And actually, it's taken the world by storm, because now what it's proven is it is faster, it's quicker, it saves people time, and it's what people want to do now. I'm converted into online shopping. It saves me time. I don't need to drive. It's time I'm never going to get back. But now e-commerce has transcended not just from a laptop, but onto mobile platforms. So, people now can shop on their mobiles, and it fits with the evolving customer demands and the fact that people want their time back, So it's important to have the tools that are, understand what customers want and have the tools and platforms available to provide them with what they want. And also, allows people to very, very quickly connect to other parts of the world. So e-commerce, via mobile, via your laptop, very, very quickly connects you throughout the world. Digitalization and innovation is the heart of the e-commerce market, and consumers are the driving force for advancing digitalization. Retail trade is one of the largest drivers of e-commerce today. And it gives consumers a way to shop very, very easily, seamlessly, and it's on the go. And on the go is actually the key at the moment. The pandemic has demonstrated the value for integrated, innovative approaches and ensure resilient transport connectivity for businesses across the globe. We also further emphasize the need for business to accelerate digitalization, just to ensure that, firstly, you can shop quickly, but also you as the e-commerce industry or the service provider need to ensure that the last mile of your chain is fulfilled. So if you tell your customer you're going to deliver in 2 to 3 days, you might provide them an excellent platform. But if you can't fulfill that last mile promise, it defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose of the entire promise. And that's why we talk about, digital courier services and solutions to provide last mile fulfillment. Logistics is the backbone of the e-commerce industry. The simplicity of click to buy has to be matched with the speed and convenience of delivery, and that's what I just spoke about. And like I said, e-commerce is at the forefront of AMEA, and rising disposable incomes comes from that region. And it's, again, internet penetration, emerging cross-border e-commerce markets, and there's still a significant amount of growth still to be realized that's emerging from Asia, Middle East, and Africa. Consumers aspire to live their best lives, and they want to live their best lives through connected, immersive, shareable, and engaging digital services. But business also need to stay ahead of the curve. So, as the consumers want something, businesses need to be ahead so that they can match the expectations of what the consumers want. And whether we like it or not, but logistics sits at the intersection of that physical and digital world. And it's the logistics service providers that actually connect the digital to the physical. And we have a vital role. I talk about FedEx, I talk about the likes of FedEx, our peers in the marketplace, but we play a vital role in shaping the future of e-commerce. And again, it talks to digitalization, moving your courier services to a digitalized platform. And customer communication is fundamental to the success. Customers don't mind if their package is delayed, but communication is fundamental. On-time deliveries is fundamental. You're not going to get 100%. People that promise 100% on time, it's a fallacy. I can tell you, you can't do it. But again, it sounds repetitive, but it is digitalization. That's what it is. That's at the forefront of it.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and Natasha, I like the way you put that. You play the central focal point between the digital and the physical world, but like you say, no one, we can't, no one can give 100% perfection, but it's how you communicate to the customer, and that's what they expect. And I think that if you don't communicate and you delayed, I think there's the problem. But if it's the real world we live in, and there are always obstacles. But I like what you say. It's about communicating to your customers, and I think.
And yeah, sorry, Mike. And what? One of the important things is, as much as we have e-commerce, we talk about digitalization, we talk about automating, we talk about AI. People still want some semblance of human connection. They want that human interaction. So as much as we move away, and we say we move away from, going into the mall, touching and feeling a package or, an item, and the convenience of shopping online, we still want that human interaction. We don't want an email. We want someone to pick up the phone and tell us, I'm sorry, but your shipment's going to be delayed for 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons, But if you have any queries, please do call us. That's important. And I think sometimes that's what we forget.
Yeah, Natasha, you're right. I think we've all got to play a bigger role in that human touch. And it's a great lesson. Thank you. Thank you for that. And just to repeat to all our attendees out there, we're getting many messages on the replays of this webinar. Please note that everyone will get the replay. So don't be alarmed if you missed, or you come in late, or if you just want to get more insights. If you see it 2 or 3 times, you'll get more insights. So you will get that replay from our team. So please don't be concerned about that. Now, moving on to some challenges, Natasha. What can an SME do to overcome e-commerce business challenges? Tips for efficient shipping and avoiding the pitfalls.
I think that's a really good question, and it's a question that's often asked, and I think sometimes we just don't give it the justice that it needs, or the due consideration, because SMEs are the future of our economy. And a lot of focus and consideration needs to be given, and investment needs to be given into helping and upskilling, also imparting knowledge of what the more mature businesses have learned along the way. I think a few questions that our SMEs should ask themselves, and it's not an exhaustive list, and it's not going to avoid all the pitfalls, but it'll mitigate to some extent. Both our B2C and B2B customers are not physically present as they used to be. I mean, that's a reality. We're trying to streamline processes. We're trying to be more efficient in terms of what we do, how we do it. Cost is a big driving factor. So we obviously try to be more efficient, do more with less. But we need to ask ourselves as SMEs, is there an opportunity for us to differentiate ourselves from our competitors with a better online shopping experience? The market is very competitive. Like we said, online shopping is the new thing. It's the new fad at the moment, online shopping. And it's very, very competitive. Previously, cast your mind a few years ago, you had, Amazon. Everybody knew Amazon. Then South Africa had Takealot. But now everything is online. So it's important that, SMEs are in an almost self-reflect and looking for opportunities to differentiate themselves from their competitors, because it's that competitive edge that's going to take you forward. Is your e-commerce platform resilient enough or solid enough to handle increasing traffic and demand? The last thing you want is to be shopping online and the website collapses. It's frustrating. It frustrates the consumer. If the only physical interaction your customers have with your product is via distributors and your delivery partners, is the experience high quality experience? Is it the experience that you want for your customers? And I think that's also a very important point, is the customers judge you by a third party or by someone who's representing you. And I think that's something we need to be very cognizant of, is the people that represent you actually are the face of you. What do customers say about their interaction, and where and how could we as SMEs improve with the third parties that we're using? Are you rethinking your supply chain to account for more time or more unpredictability? I think that's important, because our markets are so agile at the moment. Environment is so unpredictable. Are we equipped for that? Are we agile enough to deal with what will come around the corner? Are your shipping partners agile? Are your shipping partners or your logistics providers in a position to adapt very quickly to the changing circumstances? And are the people that are providing your last mile delivery solutions, are they your business partners? Do they see you as a business partner, or are you just a customer? I think that's a very big differentiator. And then tips for efficient shipping. Compare shipping options. I think that's important. Don't go with one service provider. Don't just go with the first one. Compare your options. Understand what international services your logistics partner provides to you. What domestic services do they provide? Do they provide speed, size, destination? Does it match your budget? And are you getting value for what you're spending? Know your options will help you choose the right service provider. And I think that's important. Packaging strategies. Are you overpacking your shipments? Because that's going to stream your costs. It's going to increase your costs. Do you understand that, volumetrics, dimensions and weights? So, be innovative in the manner in which you are packing, but also make sure that your goods are well protected so that there's no damage. It reaches the end consumer, it reaches the consumer intact. And then, don't use too large boxes. Don't put cushioning. It's almost like I'm saying things that are quite obvious, but it really isn't, because sometimes, most of the time, actually, we have to tell our customers, the box you're using is too large. There's too much of bubble wrap in it. There's too much of cushioning in it. Don't pad it so much, because then you end up paying for air. You're actually paying for air, and shipping is not cheap. And, shipping is a lot more expensive nowadays, especially with, I don't think Ukraine and Russia did us any favors, with the fuel costs going up to the extent that it is. And that makes it really, really difficult for logistics companies to actually almost plug in, their rates and their costs, because the costs are unpredictable. And, it now becomes expensive shipping, as opposed to 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when the fuel price was somewhat stable. I say that tongue in cheek, but somewhat a lot more stable than what it is right now. And, like I said, understand what dim weight is, understand. So it's dimensions and weights. Understand volumetrics. That's important, because that determines the rates. It determines a lot of things in terms of what you're going to be outlaying. Ship with delivery choice in mind, and make returns easy, because if your consumers want to return, it needs to be a seamless process. It shouldn't be a frustrating process. So in the era of convenience, customers expect a choice for delivery, simple returns, In fact, 95% of customers like to shop with you again if you make the return process convenient. I mean, and that's a statistic that's proven, and I'm surprised that even the 5% are prepared to have uneasy return process, because I think 100% of customers want a very seamless return process. Mobile, go mobile. Use mobile to make shipping simple, even when you're away from the office. So you get a free mobile app. Like FedEx has a FedEx mobile app to check your account rates, to get your quotes, to create shipments, to receive alerts, to track locations. So it's basically managing your shipping while you're on the road. And I think that's important. The flexibility of, I don't have to get my laptop. I don't have to plug it in. Simple cell phone, my mobile phone, and I can check whatever I need to check. Automate your shipping. You don't need to come in physically to hand the packages in. And automating your shipping, FedEx has FedEx Ship Manager. You set your preferences, you build an address book, and the program would auto-populate your shipping forms. Less paperwork, less time online, etc. Fewer errors. Makes life so much more simple. It takes you away as an SME, as a business owner, from the admin side of things. It reduces your admin. And then streamline your business software. If you're setting up an e-commerce platform, understand shipping functions are already built in to a lot of popular software. Use it. FedEx, invested a lot of money, for example, in FedEx Ready software, which cuts down setup time. And there's a lot of other, companies that would do that as well. But I think the essence is be efficient with your time and understand what's available, understand what's out there. And, with the challenging economic climate that we're sitting in at the moment, it's important also to understand that you're getting value for your money. So, look around, understand what's best for you.
Sure. Absolutely, Natasha. What I can never understand, touching on transporting air, is that, I've seen it myself. You buy the small unbreakable item online, and 4 days later it arrives at your door in this enormous box filled with bubble wrap and air. And in the middle is this tiny little item that you've bought which can't break. And there's a lot of air being transported around the world, I would imagine.
Yes, definitely. Expensive air. Expensive air, Mike.
Absolutely. And now, Natasha, how the changing consumer behaviors dictate e-commerce strategy, and how the logistics plays a key part in this?
Mike, I think, we've touched on it. So to avoid being repetitive, I think, consumer behavior does dictate. I mean, it's fast changing, it's challenging, it's a competitive environment. And consumer expectations are high, but consumers are also very price sensitive now, right? And because of, like I said, the global economic climate, people want value for their money. But they also, with that, being price sensitive, expectations are high. They want efficient logistics services. They want their deliveries to be successful. They want it on time. They want flexible options. They want it fast. They want easy returns. And they want, I would say, from what we've seen with our customers, they want automation. Automation is key.
Sure.
So again, it talks to digital transformation. Consumers want that. They want the digital platforms. But to sum it up, they want transparency, they want communication,
Sure.
They want it fast, they want reliable service. But what they also want is the ability to trust their service provider. I think trust is a very, very key point.
Sure.
And again, trust becomes really, really important as we start moving away from the human interaction. So they want to be able to trust the site. They want to be able to trust what's behind the site. They want to be able to trust that, whoever's behind the site and the third parties they use are trustworthy. So, it's again, without being repetitive, that's what it is in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Trust in this new world is imperative. Now, I know a lot of our business owners are waiting for the next question, Natasha, and a really important one. How does FedEx help small businesses expand their reach globally?
So at FedEx, we believe that a connected world is a better world. And it's not from now. That's not been our belief from now. It's been a belief from the 70s, when our CEO and founder opened the doors, and it's that belief that a connected world is a better world that has guided everything we do. And as the e-commerce sector grows, we are committed to building robust networks that offer smart supply chain solutions, but also personalized delivery services. So a combination of the digital plus the human, and the aim of that is to help businesses unlock new opportunities, harness their current opportunities, and go forward on a journey together as partners. We have the experience of a global network. We have world-class service. We have an amazing fleet. We have the largest cargo fleet in the world. We have technology solutions that are needed to transport almost all types of goods, including specialized handling services and hazardous goods across and around the world. We have cross-border logistics. We have an amazing broad network coverage, and ease of connectivity helps increase the penetration into the e-commerce market, the players. And again, FedEx in the Middle East in MESA has served 66 countries with a direct serve presence. So we try and be as physically present in as many countries as we can. And that is our goal, is to make sure we connect not just people, connect the world. And again, break down barriers, break down borders, and move possibilities as seamlessly as possible with the backing of technology, with solutions, and the human interaction.
Sure, 100%. Now, Natasha, ahead of 2023, what is your advice to your SME customers?
Very, very simplistically, adopt new technologies, be innovative. Again, find ways of working to stay agile. We spoke about the business environment, the economic climate. Something now could change in an hour. So it's about being agile, and I think that's really important. And the digital, we need to understand and appreciate that we need to digitally transform while streamlining supplier and customer value chain. So that's important. So people want the digital transformation, but they also want a very streamlined value chain at the end of it. And again, FedEx offers digital shipping tools. We allow SMEs. In fact, we have teams dedicated to SMEs, and that's just to make their onboarding process a lot more seamless. Take away the time, take away the admin side of it. And we've got tools that allow SMEs to easily manage their shipments through the FedEx mobile app. So in the palm of your hands, SMEs can manage, SMEs and their customers can track the status of any package or freight, as well as get your rates, understand the transit times, understand whatever support you need. So there's lots. And it's also important for business owners to collaborate with logistics providers to build a solid integrated supply chain, open access to new markets. So understand that there's no boundaries to your business. South Africa is not, whether you're in South Africa, don't ring fence it. There's options. Go beyond your borders. And, South Africa, Africa is on this huge drive to break down borders and barriers between each country and make it into one Africa. And, not just one Africa then, expand it. Understand that the AMEA market is which is the frontier that has the largest growing e-commerce economy. And that's also the area or the region, I would say, that has the most amount of disposable income at this point in time in the world. So look beyond the borders and look to collaborate with logistics providers that can help you break down those barriers and expand your borders. And FedEx does that. We've got amazing tools. We've got an amazing sales team with account executives that will help you, sit with you, invest in you so that your business is successful.
Great, Natasha. Yeah, just one final question I have for you. And the FedEx network is crucial to provide businesses with greater connectivity across the world. What are your major challenges in this regard?
Exactly the advice that I gave to the SMEs. I'm gonna tell you on the major challenges that we face, which is agility. You got to be agile, and sometimes we'll be sitting down and we'll be strategizing, or we'll make a decision. We're doing this now, in 15 minutes, the team will come back and tell me, well, we can't do it, something's changed. So it's being agile, it's being able to make business decisions very, very quickly. And we need to be cognizant. And I think one of the challenges that we have and we face is that consumer needs are dynamic. I said that to you earlier on when I said, when you asked me for advice to the SMEs, right? And they're ever changing, and we have to strive to be agile, employ the most advanced technologies. And we have to, and that's challenging sometimes because we have to, one of the things is the Purple Promise, which is to make every FedEx experience outstanding. And, we have to efficiently and safely move packages. We also move these packages into markets that may not necessarily have such a mature and robust, regulatory system that we do. So it's also maneuvering through that. And then, again, understanding the different countries we're moving to, the different types of shipments, being abreast of what changes could possibly come and stay ahead of that. And again, they're not special challenges. They're not unique to FedEx. It's the same challenges, whether you're an SMME, whether you're a multinational, whether you're a one-man band, whether you're a farmer. It's the same challenges that we all face. And again, it's just, in my mind, it's all about being bold. Sometimes you've got to be bold and make bold decisions in a very agile manner. And with all that, understanding what the customer wants and trying as best as possible within the parameters that you have to give the customer what they want as quickly and as efficiently as we can.
Natasha Parmanand, the Managing Director of FedEx Express, Sub-Saharan Africa, a huge thank you. We're truly grateful. I know our SMEs out there are equally grateful, and the insights are invaluable. Again, I'll repeat, this, of course, is available on repeat, so you will get the replay. And Natasha, I know this is the first event of the year. It's not our last event together this year. There's a lot to talk about. We are going to touch on trading across borders and helping our SMEs out there who are serious about taking their businesses into Africa and beyond, tips, advice, mitigating risk. But that's for another time, of course. It's an important topic. And yes, to all our attendees out there, thank you for participating in our first event. Stay close to us. And of course, watch out that the Business Show Africa delegate bookings open next week. Stay close, get your ticket. It's all sponsored. So it's going to be hugely insightful, powerful networking. And but before the business show, there are many things happening. And thank you for your time out, and thank you for being involved. And to all our attendees, it's also because of you we can do what we do. We hope that you've enjoyed. We hope that you'll take some of these insights into your business, and that will help your business grow bigger and better and more successfully. So thank you, everybody. Wonderful session. Truly grateful.
Thanks, Mike. And thank you to the attendees. Much appreciated.
Great stuff. Thank you.